Okay, now that we've got this soaking wet, you can see it's much easier to flatten just by using your hand. What we want to do is, again, get these as close to one another as possible. So get both sides really close to one another. And we're going to try and make all the puckers as flat as possible too before we even flatten it. So what I generally use is an awl, or you can use a thick large needle. You could use a piece of wood, anything that's kind of has a point to it, but not too pointy. You don't want to be poking holes in it, but it helps with laying this down. So I kind of go around, and I also use it to kind of move the puckers. And ideally, when you're making these, you want the puckers to line up on each side. So that's something I'm trying to do here. It's making these all line up. Because it just makes it a lot easier in the sewing process. And so sometimes it starts to get bunched up like this, and I take this and pull it up from the inside, kind of pushing it up. So you kind of see how it does that. Okay? So then I made that pucker like that. And then just kind of push them around. The end really is probably one of the more difficult places to get the pucker to line up. But oh man, these ones are working out almost perfectly. So you can really see how these are pretty much perfect puckers. So we got lucky on this one. Sometimes it just depends on the hide. The hide might be a little less forgiving or more forgiving. And you just got to kind of work with it and understand that, like, it's not going to be exactly perfect. And that's okay. So now we're ready for the actual flattening process. So again, you want to try and get these pushed up against one another as close as you can. And I take a rubber mallet, or you can use a wooden mallet too, and make sure it's clean. If it's not clean, if it's for a tool that you use for something else, just cover it up with a piece of cloth or something, and it'll be fine. You just don't want to get grease or dirt or whatever on the tip of this. And you don't need to hammer it very hard. This is especially thick hide that I'm working with here. But you want to start in the middle along the seam. And then kind of work your way around. Right, I think that's about ready. And now, what I like to do best is to just let it dry overnight. If you're in a hurry, you can use a hair dryer, or even on a hot summer day, put it on the dashboard in your car in direct sun, and it'll dry out pretty quickly. So those are some other quick options to do. The drying process makes this a little bit more stiff, so that you can do the sewing a lot easier.